All right, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans and NTT IndyCar Series fans, we just wrapped up the St. Petersburg race. Although we're taping this in January, so we don't know who won, but it could have been this guy, Colton Herta, one of our favorite IndyCar drivers who's got, we were just talking a minute ago, almost 10 wins in the IndyCar Series. He's becoming a veteran now, which is hard to believe, still as young as you are. Last year, let's just start with the high point of last year, Nashville. Going back to the Super Speedway, first time we've been back there in a long time, and you seem to like that place.
Yeah, I mean, first oval win for me. It's been a long time coming. You know, I've had so much success in kind of road and street courses, and we've been so close so many times in ovals that it didn't really come as a shock, but it's so nice to finally get that weight off the shoulders and finally get a win there.
I think you said something like along the lines of this makes you a true IndyCar driver when you actually win on an oval, and just to see the excitement that you had to pick that up, and I know for the team to end the season that way, does that give you momentum rolling into 2025?
100%, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I think it gets all the guys excited going into the offseason, which you need that because it's such a long offseason for IndyCar that it can get a little bit dull, and especially in Indianapolis, the guys are arriving at work and it's dark, and they're leaving and it's dark, and so it's a tough job, and so to have that kind of confidence of seeing what we're working for, and they still have the Nashville trophy right there in the car bay, so they know what we're working for, and they know what the standard is. That's the standard now. So we have to go into 2025 with that.
Is there anything on an oval like Nashville that translates to an oval like the Speedway?
Minor things driving-wise. There are some things setup-wise that, yes, but minor things driving-wise, how you race in the pack and whatnot can be similar. When there's a two-lane track like Nashville early on in the stints, kind of throw everything out of the bag. It's very different. But as you get runs going and later in the race when it's only one lane, it does race a lot like Indy, where you really have to time the exits and get on the throttle early so that you have the opportunity to make the pass later down the straight.
So do you have a favorite of the three disciplines that we do in the IndyCar Series?
Yes, I love the road and street courses. I think I mean, I love all of them. Road and street courses are kind of like my bread and butter. That's what I grew up doing. I grew up racing go-karts and on road courses. And so it's kind of what my background is. You know, a lot of guys, at least in the 90s and early 2000s, grew up racing quarter midgets or dirt stuff, and that's kind of the way to IndyCar, and it's changed now. So for me, that's kind of my bread and butter a little bit more.
So do you feel like when you are trained sort of on the road courses and even the street circuits, do you have more room to improve in your oval craft, or is it?
100%. Yes, yeah. You start at such a low level in the junior series, and even in the junior series, right, it's only two at most, maybe, two at most ovals that you're racing a year versus 10 road and street courses, maybe more. And so it's not at that bad of a ratio in IndyCar. It's pretty close to even. But, you know, when you're growing up, you're still, even in the IndyCar ladder system, you're not doing many ovals unless you come from a stock car background. Right.
I've heard drivers say in the past that even Indianapolis, while it's a rectangle with sort of softened off corners, and we call it an oval, that has a little bit of a feel of a road course or a street circuit, those corners, and the importance of just getting your entry exactly right in your apex. And it's interesting, it seems like people can adapt pretty quickly to the Speedway, even with no real oval experience.
Yes, I think the thing that's different from that to a road course, though, is just the precision is times 1,000 that you need at IndyCar, or at Indy, sorry, in an IndyCar. But if you turn in just that little bit too late and whatnot, you're never going to make it down to the apex. On a road course, you can just slow down more and you'll make it down there. But at Indy, you're so light on downforce, the conditions are so hard to master, and the track's just plain hard to drive. Even though it can somewhat look easy from our perspective, you know, it's extremely hard, and we're always on our toes there.
Well, you're covering the football field in less than a second. I mean, it's the speed's there for sure. So speaking of just things happening in the off season and the momentum, you made a change personally, and you moved out of this cold weather, and you're down south. How's that been going?
It's nice. It's nice in the off season. It's nice, especially for training. Don't have to train indoors year round. I can go for a run, get on the bike, you know, do what I have to do, play golf. So it is nice. Obviously, this is really a second home for me because during the season I'm basically here the whole time anyways. And so it's a second home for me for sure. And I always love Indianapolis. I love the summers here. The winters not so much, but I love the summers. I hope it never goes to Central Time again, because I love it being so light for so late. And yeah, it's just it's a great state.
So Las Vegas, I mean, when people think of Las Vegas, they think of the gambling and they think of all the strip and all of that. But one of the things I love about Vegas is the opportunity to do things outside. So are you a road bike or a mountain bike guy?
Road bike.
Okay.
Although the mountain biking is huge out there, but there's so much to do out there, and I think a lot of people only see a very small part of it. But the suburbs it's just like anywhere else. It's just like Los Angeles or Phoenix or anywhere around there in the Southern California or Southern region. I've loved it. I've only been out there for 2 months, but I love it so far.
Gaming in the off season. What's your game of choice lately?
Play a game called League of Legends.
Yep.
It's been the same forever. It is a pretty nerdy game, but I love it.
And you've always been a gamer.
Always, yeah.
Do you do much on the simulator?
No, I hate the simulator. I'm not a fan of the simulator. It kind of ruined me through COVID because we were on TV and it was so serious. And I mean, it was literally like 10 hours a day of iRacing just so we could do well. And I was already so bad. Like, I would put 10 hours in and I'd still finish like 18th out of the 20 guys that did it. And so I just basically threw my simulator away after COVID, and I haven't touched it since.
So now when you go to the actual sim, do you find that valuable, or is that still also
Yes.
a little bit difficult?
It's so different. There is parts that are difficult, that are hard to understand and different to the real car, but there are also some parts that are huge for us, that we can find on setup or driving wise and break points and whatnot. I especially like it when we went to like Nashville for the first time, the back when we were at the street course, just understanding the lines and stuff, and it was so big for me. I mean, I did that sim day on the Wednesday before, and I was 0.7 faster than P2 in first practice, so that was like a huge thing for me. It was like, this works for me, and this is how I want to use it, and then the team shows me how they want to use it, and so we kind of figure out a good system in there.
Yeah, because I know that's super important with the limited testing, and getting in the actual sim is a big deal for folks. I'll ask you one more question. It's a little tougher. Indy last year.
Yes.
Did you think the car hit the wall? I know you got out.
No, I knew what happened. I think people don't understand the rule in IndyCar, which is it doesn't matter how hard you hit a wall, even if you brush a wall and you come to a stop, you have to go to the medical center on any oval. You don't have to in road courses, but you have to in any oval. So that was the reason. Even if I stayed in, they wouldn't have restarted the car for me. They would have told me you have to go to the medical center.
Frustrating moment for you when you're just inches away from being a Danny Sullivan sort of spin and win type moment, right?
So close. It was so close. I thought I had it for a second, and if that rule wasn't in place, which it's in place for the right reason. It doesn't matter what the crash looks like. You can still get concussed or knocked out if you hit your head the wrong way. So, but so close to being able to still pull away and keep going, because that car was so fast, man. It was so annoying to not be able to win that race.
Well, you've been fast at the Speedway sort of your whole career. You've had up and down times at the Speedway, hadn't always been the kindest to you. How important would it be to see your face on the Borg-Warner Trophy for your career? So much.
That's why I got into the sport. I loved watching the Indy 500. There are two things. I love watching Indy cars at Long Beach, and I loved watching Indy cars around the Speedway. And it doesn't owe me anything. I don't expect the track to do me any favors like that, but I would like a little bit of luck one year, maybe a little bit in a really good race car, which I've had a lot, and for me to be on point with my driving. But as you know, it takes everything. You need a perfect day there. There's so many things that can go wrong in 500 miles, even though it's a sprint race now and everything's competitive and you have to be passing guys all the time. It's still so hard to win.
Well, there you have it, folks. He's still one of the young guys, but believe it or not, I think this is number 7.
Seventh year, yeah.
7 Indianapolis 500s for this guy, so he is truly a veteran. And I know our fans will go pretty crazy if driving in that Andretti Autosport car, you see Colton Herta pick up a win in the 109th running of the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge. See you soon.